From Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew, Act 1, Scene 2, lines 271 to 274, Tranio says to Petruchio, "If it be so, sir, that you are the man, must set us all and me amongst the rest. Make me break the ice and do his feet. Achieve the elder, set the younger free." In this quote, Tranio disguises Lucentio, and he's talking to Petruchio about him potentially winning quite. Okay. But the most important part of this is where he uses the phrase break the ice. He says, "And if you break the ice and do his feet." I think this is interesting because it's an example of a phrase that Shakespeare coined that we still use today. And to break the ice means to break an awkward silence, like when you first meet someone and you start a conversation with them. If you didn't know this, Shakespeare coins his own terms and words to use in his plays to expand his vocabulary. And break the ice is one of these phrases. This is just one of the many phrases that Shakespeare came up with. And I think the most fascinating thing about this is that although he created these terms hundreds of years ago, we still use them today. And it survived through all these hundreds of years, unlike other words. Like in the induction, in scene 2, line 2, the first servingman says to Christopher Sly, "Will it please your lord drink a cup of sack?" Although this isn't a coined word, it's an antiquated word. Sack is one of the words that did not survive. It became antiquated, and it used to mean white wine imported from Spain. And there's probably plenty more phrases that Shakespeare coined that became antiquated because people didn't use them. But break the ice is unique because it did survive, and we still use it today in conversations.
What fascinating talk? Please cut it.
Should we start our Alright. I'll break the ice. So what I think the topic is, it's cool to see how some have died out. There are others that still are used to break the ice, which I didn't know what it meant until I read that. But I've heard it many times, so I think some of these terms lose their meaning almost if they're overused. But now I see why people would use break the ice as it is used in the context of the day and is used in today's society.
Also, a lot of metaphors used back then. Nowadays, they become some common things people say, like falling in love. Like you're not actually falling, but like falling in love is like a dead metaphor. And I feel like this metaphor that they use and that Shakespeare uses is not dead. I feel like it's still known that it's a metaphor because other metaphors are some of these used in generally. Yeah.
And see, with a lot of these literary devices, similes, metaphors, we say them, especially idioms. We say them, but when you think about it, it kind of if you analyze it closely, it doesn't make as much sense. That's why you have to trace this stuff all the way back to what Shakespeare wrote. And the definition probably meant something other than what it does to this day.
Should I start with my topic? Alright. So in this, I'll be reading, I'm starting my... Alright, so in Act 1, Scene 1, relating to an adaptation of Shakespeare, it's, "Gentlemen, importune me no further, for how I firmly am resolved, you know, that is, not to bestow my youngest daughter, before I have a husband for the elder. If either of you both love Katharina, because I know you well and love you well, leave shall you have to court her at your pleasure." This statement, one of the most important relating to the plot of the entire play, reflects the plot of the whole play, being a father named Baptista that will not allow his beautiful and desirable daughter Bianca marry before her elder and more shrewd sister Catherine is married. In our society, Shakespeare's work has influenced in some way every work of literature and often in movies, in one way or another, whether it is borrowing phrases or words he's coined or adapting some of his favorite famous works into movies. Deliver Us from Eva is a prime example of a recasted work of Shakespeare. It is a 2003 American comedy that adapts the plot of Taming of the Shrew into a movie that, unlike other adaptations, incorporates African American culture. This movie is about a man named Gray being paid to date Eva, the modern-day counterpart or the film's counterpart of Catherine, is a troublesome lady that works as an inspector for the LA Health Department, a career that fits her bossy personality. Ray, who is a counterpart for Petruchio, is known to handle such shrewd women as Eva. Due due to Eva's true personality, she causes a great amount of tension towards her sister's significant others due to her involvement in her sister's lives. So the significant others meet up with Ray and pay him to try and date Eva. Eva and Ray eventually get in a good relationship, causing their sisters to become jealous, and the rest of the movie is a series of events following the sisters' attempts to disrupt the relationship between Eva and Ray. Not only is this movie a parallel to Taming of the Shrew regarding both plot and characters, but is a prime example of how the play is relevant in today's society. The movie still depicts themes in Taming of the Shrew that exist in today's modern society, such as the belittlement of women by men. When The Taming of the Shrew was written, it was a much more sexist and misogynistic time where men thought they could persuade and control women as they pleased. Although this movie does not go to the extreme the play does, it still incorporates elements of 21st century sexism, as the men pay their friend to get with a girl they don't like for the benefit of their own relationships. The relationship does end up going well, but it starts with the men's idea that both disregard the girl and display how sexism is more subtly seen in today's society.
So I think that's actually a pretty cool adaptation of The Taming of the Shrew, where Patricio is uniquely portrayed because in the play he says that he's happy as long as his wife is wealthy, and here he's being paid to date the girl. Right? Yeah. So I think that's actually really unique, pretty creative way of doing it. Because a lot of other adaptations they just like copy and paste the play, and use like different words, but it's like the same story. But this one's kind of like changes it and makes it so that he's getting paid to do it. It's like it's the same idea, but like a different way of showing it, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think that it's also cool that they like adapted it into like sort of, as you said, it was it incorporates African culture, which is pretty cool as times are changing. And like you also said that sexism is sort of like a lot less in the film compared to the play, and also this movie compared to some of the others, like 10 Things I Hate About You. The meaning behind The Taming of the Shrew isn't as obvious. Like the characters' names are different, and then they do some different things, but deep down you still like know that it's the same. It's based on the same thing. But in my movie, which is 10 Things I Might Hate About You, it's just like everything is literally the complete same. The way they get the ladies, the way like even the names, like the settings, all that. It's just made into like a high school setting.
So in The Taming of the Shrew, the lines say that thy husband is thy lord and thy life is thy keeper, which suggests that Katharina felt as if it is proper for like the husband to control the wife and like dictate what she says. And according to Kate, she believes that all women, like just like her, must believe in their spouse's beliefs and rules and like their husband's virtues, since the husband's like the caretaker of the family and like in general. And this common concept is like displayed throughout history, especially in the late 1200s, when men dictated women and women were below men in like in hierarchy. And this is displayed in Shakespeare's writing, because here it shows how men expect women to be and how women follow what the men say, and the belief. And can we restart this?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk first. I'm just gonna mention things that are like valid.
That hasn't.
Young Chef West.
So in The Taming of the Shrew, from lines 162 to 163, it says, "The husband is thy lord, thy life, thy keeper," which suggests that Katharina feels as if it is proper or right for the spouse to be in control of the wife. According to Kate, she believes that she and all women alike must believe in their spouse's beliefs, rules, and virtues, since her husband is the caretaker. This common concept throughout history, especially in the late 1200s, where men are supposed to dictate women, and where women are below men in hierarchy, is represented in Shakespeare's writing. The belief that women must obey their companion was what women throughout his society have believed. Now in the modern age, women are still oppressed, more oppressed and more, not given as many rights as men, However, things have improved a lot because strategies have been changing towards gender equality as women are tending to be more open-minded and independent compared to previous times, and this is shown in Shakespeare's. Shown in Shakespeare's writing, where when he says, when Kate says that moved in good time, let him that moved you hither remove you hence, and I knew you at the first. You were immovable. This shows Kate's attitude before her husband tortured her. Katharina used to be a rebellious, strong-minded, and independent lady, which is what most of society today is becoming, and these changes in women were already displayed in the 10 Years' Truth, even though that they had different roles. And I feel like Shakespeare's writings were like read by people before like all this gender equality things have happened recently, like a movement, yeah. And I feel like Shakespeare's writing, like his writings had influenced like the minds of people back then too, because people used to like even in like the 1700s, people like read books and stuff, but they read like Shakespeare's writings. They didn't like, most of their thing was biased towards men, and I find it pretty ironic how Shakespeare has a part that's contrary to what he and other men in society believe in.
If you think about like the audiences that like would go to his plays or would read his works, they're more than likely probably be men who can better relate to whatever the circumstances that Shakespeare is talking about. I also wanted to mention a quote that I mentioned like previously in the discussion. It's pretty much when Petruchio referred to Catherine as basically his property, his
Calls her
ox.
his Chantels.
Chantel, his ox, his ass, everything.
Yeah, it being a comedy, it's like the kind of humor men would relate to at that time. And, of course, as seen in like your adaptation and the movie that you talked about in mine, it's like more relatable to modern society, and it shows that difference in how women were treated in hundreds of years.
Mine took place in a high school, so you could just imagine the amount of misogyny that would be going on inside of that kind of setting.
Yeah, I think the points you brought up were very good because it ties into like both of these guys' points, and it kind of like brings the discussion together about sexism and like the difference between men and women between then and today, and that just like highlights the differences. I think.
So, Scott, please be respectful to the speaker. So, if I may direct your attention to Act 1, Scene 1, line 63, the quote is, I was not halfway to her heart, but if it were, doubt not her care should be to comb your noddle with a three-legged stool, and paint your face, and use you like a fool. Basically, this statement portrays Catherine's behavior as a rather loud, harsh, and unpredictable character, which kind of contributes to the plot of the difficulty in finding her a suitor, and Bianca being as a result, Bianca's unable to find love. That's pretty much the main plot of the story. And her statement kind of makes her seem to be more independent of men. She seems to want to be free of the misogyny that is prevalent during that time period, and she's in some ways almost ahead of her time from an ideological perspective. The trouble that Catherine's behavior causes and the themes that go along with it in the play make it relevant enough to recreate a modern film on, which is the case with the 1999 American film 10 Things I Hate About You. Basically, everything from the character names to the settings, all of them copied over from the 16th century play into somewhat of a modern story that people can relate to. Being that the city of Padua, in the play, ends up being called Padua High School inside the film. In the film, the female protagonist's names stay constant. Bianca plays herself, and Catherine from the play becomes Kat in the film. while male characters Lucentio and Petruchio are played by guys named Cameron and Patrick. You know, other than the stereotypes about gender roles in both works, themes such as sibling rivalry as well as individualism begin to arise as the great contrast in sisters has a massive effect on how the story pans out. The theme of sibling rivalry is like the base of the plot, as it lays out the foundation for the story to occur like later on. The theme of individualism that Catherine portrays in the play and the film causes the hindering of her younger, more desirable sister's plans, and it also leads to confusion among the changing of roles in both works. And for example, in the film, Cameron learns French in order to teach Bianca, much like how his play counterpart Lucentio teaches Bianca Latin in an attempt to read it.
Well, I'd like to sort of compare and contrast to my movie. So yours uses like Padua and Catherine and Bianca, while mine it's totally different. You have Eva and Ray, who are Patricia and Catherine, and even some of the more broader elements, like yours being in a high school, mine being in like city life, or like adults, is more like casual. Maybe high school is more aggressive and might relate more to the actual play. Just sort of in more of like dramatic standpoint, but in my movie, the guy is paid basically to woo Eva. And how did the guy in yours get convinced to woo Bianca or Catherine? Did he just do it? He just did it. So you can see how it might have been more like impulsive. And my character was like paid money.
They had the neutral then.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so this is like exactly what I was talking about when I responded to Scott. I said that the movie that he talked about, it was kind of like it made it unique. You like changed the names of it and like change like some of the aspects of the story. While yours is an example of one of those movies that basically like copy and pasted. It's like completely the same with like the names and the plot and the setting. So they're like these two movies are like completely different, but at the same time they're also like completely the same. Like it follows like the same like base, but it goes two different routes.
They have the same roots.
Yeah.
They both originate from The Taming of the Shrew. However, like their plot lines have differentiated, even though they get it from the same source.
Yeah, just like minor differences
Yeah.
that minor differences that add to the effect of basically what the play has become in our minds.
We can also use this play as sort of like a gateway to Shakespeare's works because, as we've mentioned previously many times, that it's sort of just a modern version of the old play. If people are really interested in this, they can go and, investigate his other works and really gain an interest into his
Yeah, like this play's very like simple, lighthearted.